Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Do I look okay? I'm so tired.
I don't see you.
What's wrong with me?
No, I said I don't see you.
Oh, hold on. I think someone's wrong with me. Oh, there we go.
There you are. Is there a bunch of people on this or is it just us?
I have no idea.
Okay.
How's the 64-hour training going?
That's good. Yeah. That was a lot, but it's good.
I get it.
I'm more like we talked today about the outcalls and stuff and I'm nervous. Like just
Don't be nervous because I still it makes me nervous going, but I mean you just you just kind of have to
try it
you'll
out.
be fine.
Yeah. I figure once I'm there, it'll be a lot different than
Yeah, because you get in the moment and you're like, okay, this is what I do.
yeah. Hi again.
Hello.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I love your hair. Go. I need to pull up the presentation real quick.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for it and I can't find it.
I have it. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. All right. I don't know if we should wait a few minutes to see if anyone else will join. We can just start probably at 6 o'clock. And then if anyone joins on and has questions at the end, then we can go through those.
Okay.
Did it ever get shared?
I'm sorry.
This is being recorded right now for our YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yep. And then once it's over, then it'll be, they'll probably cut it, hopefully, to when we start presenting. And then, but right now, I guess we can start doing our introductions. And then hopefully they'll just start at this point. But I'll start. My name is Gretchen. I am the supervisor of Breaking Traffic, and I have with me Tyler and Adrian and Sarah today. Tyler, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Tyler. I am a survivor advocate for Breaking Traffic on the Illinois side of the river.
My name is Adrian and I'm a survivor advocate on the Iowa side for Scott and Clinton County.
And Sarah?
And I'm Sarah. I'm a survivor advocate with Breaking Traffic and on the on the Iowa side for Muscatine.
Yeah. So today we're going to present social media and parents and give a general description of what human trafficking is. So we're going to do an overview of services, go over some different apps and gaming, how to have conversations with children, different red flags and grooming tactics, and then tips and resources. So with Family Resources, we have an array of survivor services. With Breaking Traffic Department, we specifically serve survivors of human trafficking and provide any information, and we have a referral system from different community partners, or we can be contacted at our crisis line. We have support groups, a 24/7 emergency shelter, rapid rehousing program. We have trauma-informed counseling, group and individual advocacy, which we specialize in, of helping survivors get housing needs met or going to court with a survivor, also like getting food or clothing, anything like that, we help out with a lot. We have different children's programs with family resources, institutional advocacy. We do professional trainings and then collaborate with the community. So like I mentioned with advocacy, we do crisis intervention as well. All of our services are free and confidential. That can be with walk-in or crisis line or emergency response, such as being at the hospital. I mentioned before as well, doing the court advocacy and housing, anything economic or medical. We have mobile advocacy, so we like to meet survivors where they are. And then anything that they need for emotional support, we're there as well. And we also help survivors with safety planning in any situations and provide case management services. So defining human trafficking, labor trafficking is compelling someone to provide labor or services through force, fraud, or coercion. And that can involve domestic servitude, agriculture, factories, bonded labor, sales crews, or ethnic restaurants. Oftentimes this is seen with immigrant populations coming here, or there was a case in Atalissa, Iowa, where men who had a mental disability were trafficked on a farm. So it does happen in Iowa. And sex trafficking is a compelled service in the commercial sex industry, which is prostitution, stripping, or pornography. And the term commercial sex act means any sex act on which anything of value is given to or received by any person. And oftentimes our survivors that we work with are sex trafficking survivors, but we do work with labor trafficking as well. Human trafficking in the United States, with domestic minor sex trafficking in the United States, it's the commercial sexual exploitation of American children within US borders for prostitution, pornography, and stripping. For someone under the age of 18, you do not have to prove force, fraud, or coercion for it to be considered human trafficking. Whereas if someone's over the age of 18, you do have to have force, fraud, or coercion for it to be considered human trafficking. This is a chart of some increased vulnerabilities that a trafficker might exploit of a survivor. They could be living in poverty, have family dysfunction. There could be gender-based violence, abuse or neglect in their past, current or past intimate partner violence, truancy or school problems, friends or relatives in prostitution, LGBTQ status, community violence, any gang involvement, drug or alcohol abuse is strongly correlated. Drug trafficking is correlated with sex trafficking. Mental health problems, homeless or runaway, or child welfare involvement, since a lot of youth with child welfare involvement do run away. And it's said that within 48 hours, a child may be approached by a trafficker if they have run away. This is a national Polaris map that indicates the number of reports of human trafficking from the National Human Trafficking Hotline that have partnered with Polaris. So it is very prevalent, and this is underreported statistics. So it is going on a lot in the United States. Adrian, do you want to take it from here?
Yes. Application and gaming. What applications, social media, or games are your children involved in? There are a lot of apps out there, and it's really hard to not monitor this, because it's very important, because there's all types of people that are not always pretending. They're always pretending. Why am I so nervous? Go to the next one. Relevancy. Sorry about that. 25% of children have been exposed to unwanted pornographic material online. Crimes Against Children Research Center. 75% of children are willing to share personal information online about themselves and their family in exchange for goods and services. A lot of kids are sometimes they're alone. They might be only children, they might be bored. They will get online and just talk to somebody that's going to listen to them. 33% of households with internet access are actively protecting their children with filtering blocking software. It's important that you have there is software that always comes with, or there is apps that always comes with your a lot of your phones. Go ahead and go to the next one. I just by the numbers. Go ahead, Gretchen. Will you go ahead and take over?
Yeah, so the average age at which a child gets a cell phone in the US is 10 years old, and 20 to 30% of kids report having being cyberbullied in their lifetime. So the NCMEC has received reports of online enticement of children on almost every digital platform. A lot of times we see apps being used like Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook, really often by young children, even starting at 10 years old or younger. Types of social media with microblogging. This could be short and frequent posts. Like I mentioned, Facebook, there's Twitter and Tumblr. Some questions might be like, what am I doing right now? Risks are that these kids are subject to being hacked, and a picture is worth 1,000 words. So once it's out on the internet, they can't take it back. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice. Tyler, do you want to go?
Sure, I can take over. So with social media, there's a lot of photo and video sharing, not only on apps like Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and TikTok, but they can edit those videos, heavily filtering those videos, and they can use hashtags in the caption as a way to connect people based on shared interests or shared content or whatever else. And in addition to a picture being worth 1,000 words, there are a few other issues with photo and video sharing, namely the effect that heavily edited and filtered photos has on a young person's psyche. And, seeing this perception of what the perfect body type is or what the perfect lifestyle is or whatever else can really start to make kids especially feel less than. And in addition, kids can often share information unintentionally through logos on their shirts, through the backgrounds of their photos, and that's not always something that they're thinking about. So they can be unwillingly giving more information than they're intending to. And then another type of app are Wi-Fi based messaging apps. We hear about Kik, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, any type of like Instagram DMs, Discord, Twitch could be one. And they use Wi-Fi rather than cell data, so they're harder for parents to track and keep track of. And the risk is that children may be having conversations with people that parents aren't even aware of, and maybe meeting people, sharing information, and really not have the support or the monitoring that is necessary in those situations. And then another beast in and of itself is the anonymous chat rooms that exist on the internet, that connect kids randomly with anybody. It could be anonymous. A lot of times they're video chats, and it can be based on shared interests or shared locations, but not always. And a lot of the issue comes when we don't know who's on the other end of that call. And because they don't always need an account or an IP address or anything like that, it can be extremely difficult for law enforcement to track those conversations that children are having. And then another type of app that we've seen gaining popularity, especially among young people, are vault apps. And these are apps that are designed to be secretive and designed to be hidden from parents. One specifically is a fake calculator app, and it looks just the same as the calculator on your phone, but you see just in the corner, one of the corners peeled up, and you open it and it's actually a messaging app. So these types of apps where they are secret and they appear to have a different function are gaining popularity, especially among kids and teens. And a lot of times we leave out gaming when we're talking about social media or online safety. We tend to focus so much on social media that we forget that online gaming, whether it's esports or live streams or whatever else, is another way that kids are connecting with people online. And a lot of times they're connecting with strangers over the internet through these games. So understanding that the same risks apply to gaming as apply to social media, and knowing what parental controls are in place or what parental controls are available, and just knowing who your kids are playing with when they're playing online games and what kinds of conversations are being had.
Yeah, this is very common that we've seen with teens connecting with predators online is over the gaming, and even people overseas trying to give kids like plane tickets to go see them if they are having some type of relationship, or getting them to another type of live chat going on. Maybe it's like a FaceTime or like webcam together, and asking them to do inappropriate things once they've gained that trust over their gaming site. So it's really important for parents to monitor who kids are talking to on the gaming apps. So it comes down to having important conversations with teens and children and parents and anyone who's in their life who can teach them about the dangers of being online with social media and with online gaming. So just having those honest, open conversations and not trying to skirt around the issue, but being very direct of what does occur online, and try to be calm, cool, and collected as a parent or a teacher or anyone having these conversations. Be readily available to listen to what they have to say, and to be understanding and not be judgmental or critical if they do tell you that something has happened with someone online, and just try to listen and say that like you want them to be safe, that you're there for them, and how can we talk about this further so that you're not putting yourself out there to someone who could be harmful if that is the situation with a child or a teen. And then there's like secrecy versus privacy. So, you know, teens who are on their phone might want privacy from their parents with some of their friends' conversations, but if they're keeping it a secret, like that's obviously something bad going on that they should be talking about with someone, if it's a therapist, or even if a parent's concerned, they can contact our crisis line and we can go and talk to the child or teen about what might be going on as an advocate, to try to get them to open up to us, or that we can teach them about the dangers if there's a parent or guardian or someone who's concerned about someone out there that doesn't feel like they have the knowledge on how to talk to a child or a teen about these kind of issues. We'd be happy to discuss that with them. So inform on how to respond and report. So if there is anything of concern that comes up with someone who's online and might be approaching a child or a teen in an inappropriate way, that can be reported to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, and their information can be given to them. With talking to a teen or a child about what's going on with their social media, it's important to use open-ended questions so that they can elaborate on their responses and talk more to you. Tyler, do you want to go over red flags and grooming process?
Sure. So the grooming process, right? A lot of people think about human trafficking and they think about the movie Taken or some type of kidnapping scenario by a stranger. But the reality of human trafficking is that children or survivors in general are groomed by their traffickers. And grooming is the process of building trust and building a relationship with a potential victim. And then traffickers will use that relationship to manipulate them and exploit them in that way. And so the reason why we talk about grooming during this conversation on social media is because social media and online is where we are meeting people in today's day and age, and especially since the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So when we have access to the world through the internet, the world also has access to us. And so that's something that we have to remember, right? So if someone is just randomly introduces themselves and says, "Hi, I'd like to human traffic you," they're going to be immediately reported, right? But if they build that relationship, they build that trust, they build that friendship, and then they can manipulate that friendship later. So that is where we're seeing a lot of social media come into play, is in that recruitment and trust building process. So some red flags to be paying attention to, not just with children, but in general, is anyone who is obsessively attached to their phone. And I'm not just talking about, checking their emails a bunch, or, your typical teenager who sits and watch TikTok for hours, but someone who is fearful of letting their phone get too far away from them, fearful of what could happen if they don't answer their phone, right? Someone who maybe it seems like there might be consequences if they don't respond to something fast enough, or if they don't answer fast enough, right? Withdrawing from friends and families. So much of the time during that recruitment and that trust building process, that trafficker is working to isolate survivors from their support system to make them easier to manipulate. So if you see someone starting to withdraw, maybe nothing's going on, but it's worth having a conversation. Appearing to hide their screen. Remember, there's a difference between secrecy and privacy. Everyone is entitled to privacy, but for safety, right? Secrecy, especially between kids and parents, is not always safe. Receiving gifts from unknown adults or older youth, especially if you don't know them as a parent, is worth having a conversation about, right? Maybe you just haven't met them yet. Maybe nothing's going on, right? When you see these red flags, none of them points exactly to human trafficking, but they're worth having conversations with kids about. Sexting and truancy, a lot of times, sexting can, once you send that photo, you lose control of that photo or that video or that conversation, right? Once it's sent, especially online, it's out there forever. So having those conversations. And then truancy, missing school. Again, it's worth a conversation.
I think it's important too for parents to educate their children or teens that sexting is a felony for them if they send a nude photo of themselves or if they receive a nude photo from someone else. And that's definitely something that they should not be passing around at school, of any type of photo or video of someone that has been taken by someone else. So it's important for them to know that it's a felony. And then Adrian, do you want to go over tips and resources?
Okay, so tips: set up parental controls, have ongoing conversations starting from a young age, talk about consent, talk about boundaries and guidelines. Just basically, it's really important to have your child know their boundaries. Stay relevant, smartsocial.com, into the cloud. Those are a couple of websites to go to. Be mindful of location device. Always make sure that your child's device location is off, especially Snapchat has a location and it can show where they are at. So make sure that's off. Check in on settings regularly. You want to go to the next one, please? Body safety for families. Can't really see that,
Big little
but
toolkit. So it's like watching videos together, have a hot chocolate talk about safety concerns, different tools. So it's just like a little handout.
okay. So YouTube in the news. YouTube CEO Susan doesn't allow her children to browse videos on the app unless they are using a version that is meant for kids. I allow my younger children to use YouTube, but I limit the amount of time they are on, which is you have to really limit the time that your child is on their phone or the internet as well. You want to go to the next one?
Yeah, it is important to have kids be on YouTube Kids rather than regular YouTube, or else it can go down a bad rabbit hole with some YouTube videos.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that really shouldn't be on YouTube.
Yeah.
And even still, you should closely monitor because there are still some videos that sneak past the filters always.
That's really true.
Turn on the safety mode in the YouTube app. Don't rely on the filters. Parents must closely monitor what tweens and teens are doing on the YouTube app. Turn off autoplay feature. It's a default setting. You just want to make sure that's off. Set a daily, weekly time limit. It's always good to have one of those. On most phones, they have or things where you can set a time limit on all your apps. Encourage your student to use YouTube in a positive way, watching educational content, learning skills, even positive affirmations or whatever works for you. Set up a shared family Google account. Log into the YouTube. It's always good to have your family under one account so then you can monitor that and what's being seen. You want to log into the YouTube app and share content so you can see your students' history, the video history. You want to always check the history. Subscribe to the saved channels for your children would like so they would get notifications to watch these channels instead of searching for a new one. Do you want to take this one, Gretchen?
Yeah, so it's just a Google Family Link. So it's a parental control app that parents can look up and be able to set ground rules and check device activity and set a time limit for screen time with their kids.
This
And then-
also links, I'll hop in, that also links people's Google accounts and their clouds. So if a child takes a picture and sends it on their phone, it gets saved to the family cloud, so the parents have access to see what they're sending.
For all pictures?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said when you have a whole like a Google account like through every your family has one together, you can see everything that is on there that's been seen or been looked at on the internet.
Yeah, that's really good for parents to set that up. And then this is going over the location services to make sure that your child doesn't have their location services on for their apps, so that someone would be able to track where they're at on like Instagram or Snapchat, like Adrian said.
Because with Snapchat, it just shows a little map of where you're at, and it's almost like exact location, so it's scary.
Mm-hmm. And then this goes over the screen time on how parents can see how much screen time their child has had throughout the day, or they can set the limit there as well to have a timer on it, like saying 5 minutes left on that one.
And you can put a passcode. Oh, sorry about that. You can put a passcode on that as well. So then, they don't have access and they have to shut it off.
Something else to remember with the screen time settings, especially on Apple devices, as that screenshot was, is that if you just go into the screen time settings and select social media, that will not include Snapchat, which is considered a communication app, and it will not include TikTok, which is considered a media app. So it really has to be more specific. So just be sure and double check what you're doing. And that's why we say to keep up to date and to stay relevant on all of the changes that are coming about.
Thank you. Do you want to talk about this app as well, Tyler?
Yeah, Go Guardian is another parental control app that allows parents to see online activity reports and filter controls, I guess, like any type of locked screens, how many tabs they have open, what types of apps that they're using the most. And it just allows parents to view kind of what's going on the kid's phone and see where conversations might need to be had. And then lastly, if you have any questions about social media safety, if you are concerned by any social media safety concerns or online safety concerns that you or your children or your friends or family might be experiencing, feel free to reach out to our crisis lines at Family Resources, either in Iowa or Illinois. They're both 24 hours. Or if you start to see red flags that someone may be being groomed for trafficking or maybe experiencing human trafficking, reach out to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, and they can provide further guidance on that as well.
Thank you. So I don't see anyone else that has joined. We shared this with Nicole. She posted it with her CCC, and then I don't know if it was shared with any social media platforms, but since it's been almost 30 minutes and no one has logged on, I think that it's fair to say that no one will, and we can all have 30 minutes back for our night. And thank you guys all for presenting with me tonight.
Of course.
Did a good job. It was really interesting.
Thanks. All right, talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.